would like to see the freedom of the people. The, I mean, like, the revolution in the Middle East now. It shows the people's power. They can speak. I mean, like, they can express themselves, not like years before. And then I really appreciate that they did the revolution peacefully. I mean, like, even though there's a violence, but they're doing it really great. They're protesting with a very good way to conduct the demonstrations, and then they singing. They're not blaming. I mean, like, they're, yeah, it's really good to do the non-violent actions in to revolt the government. So yeah.
So do you want to see more nonviolent revolts in the Middle East?
I mean, like, there must be some things. I mean, like, there will be another revolution in the Middle East because the corrupted government. I mean, like, the people who under pressure for the whole years. I mean, like, because I don't know, maybe the origin of the structure of the government in the Middle East is really diverse from one to another. I mean, like, there's a huge disparity. I mean, like, the people. I mean, like, the leaders who has the military backup, the leaders who have ruled for many years, and also I don't know. I don't want to debate it, but I mean, like, the monarchy system is not really good for me because they're not elected by the people. They are not they're not representing the people. They're representing their family. So I think I would love to see good things happen in the Middle East. I heard about the Syria revolution now, and 30 people killed today, and yeah, I hope there would be a good thing happen in Syria.
Yeah, that's interesting to hear you say like the leadership and the power is by a monarchy that's backed by the military, and it sounds like you're saying like you want the leadership and the power to come from a peaceful place. It's like, yeah, representing the a whole group, but
Yeah.
also backed up by peace and like support
Yeah.
and togetherness instead of like tanks and guns. Yeah, I don't know if I think I'm understanding you correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not so articulate.
No, I think you're extremely articulate. Actually, I think you put it together really great. Actually.
Okay.
So the Middle East is diverse, fine, but if we're gonna have this, no more monarchy, and it's gonna be all led by the people in these peaceful protests and revolutions. What else? What role does the rest of the world have to play in it?
I think the event now occurred in Middle East can give a good example, or will lead to another, like, will inspire people in the world, like, in Burma the operation is still happening, and the people cannot do anything because of the media censorship, because the curfew or something like that, and yeah, I guess that many people are under pressure now, like in the North Korea as well, and they cannot do anything. So I think if this kind of revolution is brought up to more audiences, and they can say anything that can make their voices be heard, it will be good. So, I mean, like, yeah, it's from my perspective. I mean, like, from Southeast Asia perspective, but I think what the Western can do about this, yeah, they just, I don't know, because they believe about democracy, and I believe democracy is not the same from one to another. I mean, like, there must be a Muslim democracy, or like, in Burma, in North Korea, they the official name is the Republic Democratic Country of North Korea or Burma, but they're not democratic. So I guess there's a huge what do you call it? Huge difference in perceiving the definitions of democracy itself, and also the practice of the democracy.
So does the Western powers have any role to play then, do you think, in these, in creating this Middle East?
It depends, because the people now has the voice. I mean, like, people have their own opinion about it, and if the West, like, I don't know, Western as a government or the people, I mean, like, the interventions of the NATO in Libya is not good because would harm the sovereignty of the country. But the people around the world is now being so cosmopolitan. They have the strong feeling about the people who are being oppressed, and also they care about the people who live in Middle East. I mean, like, it's really good, but you know, they cannot help directly, but they have a strong feeling that they can pray, or they can support the revolution in their mind. On it. They can make a discussion with their friends, and then what would be best for the people.
That's awesome. What are your hopes and fears and concerns? So maybe let's take that in pieces. What are your hopes then for the Middle East?
I hope no more violence, because Middle East has suffered a lot from the violence. So I think the government, I mean, like, I know that the government who is now being about to be go, I mean, like, about to step down, is under pressure because of the media always put the news, and then they can yeah, give a lot of pressure for the government. So but I have a fear about the revolution. Um, in Indonesia, we are a Muslim democrat country, Muslim moderate country, but somehow we are afraid of the Ikhwanul Muslimin movement, because naturally in Indonesia the government is now backed by the religious parties, which is good for some reason, but not good for some other reason, because we are very diverse communities. I mean, like, in terms of religions, cultures, and some other things. So it may harm the minority. It may harm the tolerance. It will give justification for the people. I mean, like, for the government. If there will be a movement in Middle East, there will be a movement in other countries as well.
Yeah. So like a fear that the majority of people sort of then the minorities either like could become violent because they don't feel represented, or the majority could become violent because they feel like they're the more legitimate.
Hmm.
That's interesting. What do you think that it's like a history of the Middle East or something, or like some legacy that makes you think that it's, even though these are peaceful revolutions, there's a fear that it can become violent? Why is violence sort of? Would it be the same if we were asking about any other part of the world?
I mean, yeah, I think it's because of the greed of the leader. I mean, like, because Middle East is very resourceful in terms of oil and other resources. So when the leader has the power, and then he owns the natural resources, he may attract the wealth by owning himself. But I don't know. Maybe you can change the question. So a little bit
Yeah.
less.
Yeah, I think like are you fearful? What is it about the Middle East that makes you fear that these peaceful revolutions could end in violence?
Mhm.
What makes that the first thing you say when you say, what do you fear? I fear that there's going to be violence, but there's just been a bunch of peaceful protests. Yes, violence in some cases, but it's like the peaceful people in the case of Tunisia in Egypt were victorious.
Yeah, I think it depends on the culture as well. I mean, like, historically, the Middle East is very, very different. I mean, like, the stereotypes of Middle East people are all Muslims, but they are not. There are many Christianity, there are Christians, and also Jews, or Coptics, or barbarian in Tunisia. And like I mean, like, yeah, in terms of resources, in terms of leadership, they have democratic government, they have monarchy government. It will, like, there will be possibilities of violence in the Middle East if the government just, like, have a military power or something like that, and they don't care about the people. They don't want to protect the people.